Okay. May I invite everyone to let your hair down, paint on your peace signs, grab your camping gear, and join me at Toronto Unbounded, which is Toronto's newest, internationally inspired, but locally authentic international music festival. Toronto Unbounded is going to be happening at Downsview Park, one of our most approachable and accessible venues in Toronto. With a capacity upwards of 500,000 people, we'll be inviting around 100,000 of your closest family and friends to join us for what will be a 3-day international music extravaganza. Camping will be available for any of those not living within the Toronto limits, obviously on a 2-night basis, Friday and Saturday night, to join us at Toronto Unbounded. Well, we definitely were inspired by the festivals that are coming into Toronto and kind of making Toronto their new home, whereas the ladies at the table, we already call Toronto home. So we wanted to kind of take the inspiration from the people who are coming in and kind of imparting their own idea of what they think is a music festival in Toronto, but be inspired by the people who are already here and what that means to a festival. Wow. Based on the grid system of Toronto, Toronto Unbounded will have 4 different stages: the North Stage, the South Stage, the East Stage, and the West Stage, all featuring internationally as well as locally acclaimed music artists, garnering all genres of the music industry. We will also be featuring 3 other incredible experiences and atmospheres. The first being an ice garden to feature our wonderful brothers and sisters from the north. We will also have 2 title sponsors in that ice garden. Our first being our local brewery of Steam Whistle, second being our close neighbor in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Inniskillen, featuring their ice wine. So that will also be a cooling station for those of you who are a little afraid of the heat in the July and August months. We will also be featuring a fashion tent, which we are calling Queen West. In that tent, we will feature our local artists who are more fashion savvy, if you will. Some of our key sponsors for our Queen West tent will be Garrison Bespoke. We will also be featuring work from Pink Tartan, and of course the Drake Tuck Shop, who is a close partner with our title sponsor for Toronto Unbounded, HBC. HBC will be sponsoring the event in a couple different areas, first and foremost being our tenting system. Everything will be branded HBC-wise, featuring our Canadiana stuff. TVs will be featured all over the place, and really bring in and hone in on our Canadiana culture and our Toronto pride for HBC. Furthermore, our title music sponsor of the event will be Drake, who will be partying with HBC to present a one-time only Toronto Unbounded 2015 line of clothing. All proceeds from our HBC Toronto Unbounded clothing will be donated to a local Toronto charity. We'll also be featuring this as a pay-per-view event for those of you who can attend with us. The hashtag Toronto Unbounded 2015 will post your live tweets during our HBC sponsored event right on the pay-per-view. So your tweets from the live event will be featured internationally on our pay-per-view event. Last but not least, our most exciting part of Toronto Unbounded is our digital bracelets. Your payments, your tickets, and everything will be sponsored through the bracelets. And the more you move at Toronto Unbounded, the more you'll see your actions on our massive display board. Every point garnered from your dance moves will be matched by our sponsors, and once again, be donated to a Toronto charity. So, keep the weekend open. Join us at Toronto Unbounded.
Do you realize what's interesting is that none of the content that we had today was planned. It was all done in the last 30 minutes, and it was pretty remarkable. I'm very inspired by hearing everybody. The ideas are all open source. Hopefully tomorrow you can take some of these ideas, learn some new things, and most importantly, the tables that you're sitting at, make sure that you're exchanging email addresses, because this is called really deep networking. You go to a cocktail party, you don't know who the hell you're talking to. You're working with these people, and so new friendships form out of these things, new groups form out of these things, entire agencies can form out of these things.